Hi everyone, my name is Mrs. Summer Smith, and for those of you that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting face to face, I'm one of the kinder teachers on the St. Francis team, and today we're going to talk about a basic math concept that is a great foundational skill to learning the concept of numbers that you can practice at home very quickly, and we're going to talk about the different ways that it might look, as well as some everyday items you might have around the house that will make playing these games a little bit easier. And they're not big and frivolous, but that one-on-one time sometimes is just enough to get them engaged for 10 minutes or so. It doesn't have to be much longer than that. They're only really going to engage equivalent to their age. So if they're a 4 or 5-year-old, we got 4 to 5 minutes. We might get a little bit more out of them past that point. So we're going to make these things simple, easy to go to, and even some big older siblings that might be in the house may also be able to help you out with this as well. So the concept we're going to talk about today is called subitizing. And subitizing basically means that you knowing a number without counting it. So there's not a written numeral in front of the child necessarily. It's a picture of some representation of that number and being able to look at it and say that is 3 and that is 5. So what can that look like? The easiest way you can practice subitizing is with these. Being able to just flash your hands and having the kids make sure that they yell out those numbers as quickly as they can is one of the easiest ways to practice subitizing, to know that a hand has 5, 2 hands has 10, and using 5 and 10 as a nice baseline for other numbers as well. So they know that 5, if I have one more, I have 6. If I take away a number from 5, if I take 1 away, then I have 4, and 9 works the same way from off of 10. So your fingers can be just a quick and easy way to practice your subitizing skills. And it's a way that they can also practice the fine motors and show you those numbers that you've asked of them. One of my favorite items around the house that we love to play with is dice. And dice are a quick and easy way because the dots are always represented the same way on the dice. Our JKs can be working to practice up to that 5 or 6 mark, and our SKs practicing to the 10 mark. And get them really strong in that number concept. And if you're worried about these guys going flying across the floor every time your child uses them, a quick little trick is to put them in a closed Tupperware container that you can see through. It becomes a little shaker container, and it keeps the dice from flying everywhere. I know when we use dice at home, I get very mindful of my animals getting a hold of these things. So locking them down into something just makes it a little bit more fun. They're a little bit loud, but trust me, they're doing a lot of great learning if they're using dice to play with. They can roll the dice, and there's your randomness. There's something that's the unknown, and then you can say, can you show me that with your fingers? Another item that you can also have them practice either using flashcards or having them show you what that number looks like when they're representing it is tally marks. So if we roll a 6 on the dice, have your child show 6 on their fingers, and then they can also show you, and I always like this part where you get to the 5 and you get to be a big old swish, and show them using the tally marks. So using these as well as a little, on some scrap paper or some sticky notes, you can lay those out on the table, and sometimes smacking them with their hands or an nice clean fly swatter is another fun way to engage in subitizing, because they really quickly have to scan and try and find the number that they need. If they look like they're struggling, knock down the numbers. Only put 3 of them in front of them. If there's a particular number they're constantly struggling with, just make sure that's always in there, and they're practicing with ones that they know really well and ones that they're struggling with, so that they're making those brain connections as time goes on. Another option that is, in addition to fingers, dice, and tallies for subitizing, is a good old pack of playing cards. So if you remove all the face cards, keep the ace as your 1. These can be used in so many different ways, from playing card games like a game of war. You get a more or less concept. They may not be able to tell you that 7 is 7 right now, but they can look at it and go, this card has more on it. And that is a critical skill as well. So more or less practice is always great. 2 cards at once, if you just draw on a piece of paper 2 squares and flip the cards into those squares, and they can practice that. They can practice reading. If they're still working on their counting, they're also a nice fun way to do one-to-one correspondence. Touch for one number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 as they go. There's a lot of variety involved with these. For those the challenged ones that you want to do, put more than 1 out. So lay them in sort of a 2 by 2 kind of grid. Then you can look for the most or the least and kind of change it up, like, oh, where's the 6, where's the 5, and that kind of way. Another thing we were practicing before we left on break was the concept of a number line. So these are really great as well, to put in order. So give them 5 or 6 different numbers, and they want to make sure that they can put them in order, even if there's missing numbers. So we would quite often give them a number line that would either have missing numbers in it from 0 to 10, or sometimes we give them a blank one and we talk about 0 starts it, 10 ends it, where does 5 go? Smack dab in the middle, and then they would problem solve to try to figure out where those numbers would go. We want to make sure 6 is close to 5 so 7 can't sneak in there and mess up the lineup. So they can be, there's lots of really great activities that can be done with our playing cards as well. So you've got your fingers, you've got your tallies, and again, you can use things as well. Use those pencil crayons and stuff. They don't have to be written, but it's also a great way to get them doing some writing practice during the day. Your dice and your playing card, and just have fun with it. Again, 10 minutes is more than enough. We don't want to frustrate them or get them upset. Keep it lighthearted, keep it fun. And sometimes just leaving this stuff out in a little bin or a container on the kitchen table or a table that or on the floor where they can play is also a great way to introduce them, because sometimes they'll play with it in ways that you don't expect them to, and they're still doing so much learning. Remember, play is their job, and we want to find many different ways in order for them to use these number concepts within their play and with everyday things you guys are doing as a family. So hopefully this allowed you guys to have a couple of ideas that you can do in a day-to-day basis to keep your littles busy. We miss you all, young ones, and hopefully we will see you soon. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for tuning in, and hopefully we will talk soon. Bye for now.